Genshin Impact has been out for nearly 4 years now, and with there being talks about the game becoming stale, I think it's a good time to discuss what changes Hoyoverse could make to spice things up a little bit and make the game more interesting and enjoyable. So today I'll be talking about 5 big changes that I personally would like to see brought into the game. This will include some quality of life changes, although I see a lot of QoL changes as unnecessary or even detrimental to the game, which could be a topic for another video, but also new systems that could make the game more varied, and changes to how the gameplay is designed. And because the game has been out for so long, I'm honestly kinda baffled that some of these have not been implemented yet. So, let's go. Number 5. Let us replay old content. That means doing old quests and events. We know that Hoyoverse can implement memory management system. We can already delete data for old quests and voiceover for languages that we don't use. So why not let us download that content and replay it? It doesn't have to grant us rewards, but it will be nice to just redo that content without having to start a new account. And of course we have the events. It's a great shame that newer players won't get to experience old events like the summer events, Dragon Spine ones, or the one from 1.1, Unreconciled Stars, which even I haven't played since I started playing in 1.3, and to this day I'm hearing about how great of an event it was. I personally am a major fan of both Golden Archipelago patches, with 1.6 and 2.8 being some of my favorite memories with the game, and I'd just love to be able to sit down in a nice summer afternoon and just experience those events once again. So yeah, let us replay old content, please! Number 4. Artifact loadouts. This is the quality of life change that I mentioned, and also a system I'm really surprised that they haven't implemented yet. I mean, they kinda did with the quick loadouts, but it's done in such a bad way that it could just not exist and it wouldn't change anything. In the past I didn't care that much about loadouts, and I think the first time I thought about them is because of Hyperbloom, since Raiden uses completely different artifacts in that team compared to her other teams. But now in 4.7 Hoyo released Imaginarium Theater, which wants you to have 18 characters built per 3 element combinations, well 12 to 18 depending on how many of the trial characters you have, but still. I doubt most people will have all those characters specifically built, so you'll have a couple characters with their own builds and then generalist sets for those less important characters. And that's the perfect reason to add artifact loadouts, because the way things are currently we have to manually swap artifacts between the characters with every Imaginarium Theater rotation, which honestly kinda blows. Another thing is a bit more personal experience that I doubt a lot of people had, but in 4.4 I tried something funny, which is exploring Chenyu Vale without any artifacts equipped, and it was honestly a great experience because the difficulty was just right. Normal enemies weren't a problem, but they also didn't just evaporate instantly after being looked at, but farming Suwani boss was fantastic. Even with Zhongli on the team, the boss dealt really high damage to the point that beating it without using either food or C6 Furina was really difficult and felt great. But constantly having to unequip artifacts to explore and then equip them again for farming domains or doing Abyss was really quite a bother, which is why I also didn't do the same with Remuria in 4.6. This whole thing with artifactless Chenyu Vale ties very nicely with the next point, which is number 3, bring overworld hard mode and add more overworld encounters. I think that Genshin combat is fantastic, but it's kind of a shame it's always limited to circles and squares, so different domains and Abyss, even though the open world is like the point of the game. So it'd be really cool to see some more spots with a lot of enemies added. For example, one of my favorite places in Genshin is Guyon Stone Forest. This is due to a couple reasons, like the beautiful scenery and wonderful music, but also this place just has a lot of enemies to fight. Of course there's the famous 5 Ruin Guard spot, but there's this Hilichurl camp with an Abyss Mage, then right next to it another Hilichurl camp, and then next to it there's a third camp. There are also 3 different Abyss Mages next to each other on top of the mountain, and on a small island nearby we can get a commission that requires us to kill 12 mobs. And back during early game this place felt so lively because of all these encounters. I'd like to see more of that, but with some way to increase the difficulty. As I said in the previous point, exploring was so much more fun after unequipping artifacts, so why not just add a new difficulty to make the enemies as strong as the ones in the Abyss, or at least close to that. We got something along these lines in Fontaine with local legends, which are a great addition to the game and hope Hoyoverse continues adding them. But yeah, I think adding hard mode to the overworld would be a great way to keep veterans more engaged and able to appreciate the combat in this game, because as I said, I think the reaction system and team synergies are just fantastic. There's just a lack of places to appreciate them. Okay, number 2. Transmog system. This one is another one that I'm baffled it hasn't been added yet. Transmogrification or vanity is a system that allows you to change appearance of your equipment. This is a beloved feature by many players in so many games, which is so weird to me that it doesn't exist in Genshin. Imagine this scenario. You're a big Zhongli fan. You roll for Vortex Vanquisher because you want that drip. But this weapon isn't good for neither Shieldbot Zhongli nor Burst DPS Zhongli. And so whenever you use Zhongli you get that feeling that you rolled for a weapon that just makes him weaker. So why not let us equip Black Tassel and change its appearance to Vortex Vanquisher? Perfect solution! Or another example, you're a die-hard Yoimiya fan. Thundering Pulse is of course her best weapon and a nice 13% increase in damage, but you just can't overlook the fact that Rust, her second best weapon, fits her so much more aesthetically and just looks so much better on her. And so you decide not to pull for Thundering Pulse because it would be detrimental to her drip. See Hoyo, you just lost money. Thanks for letting me save on that Thundering Pulse though. And finally, number 1. Buff Yoimiya, Constellation Toggle. Of course it's the Constellation Toggle. This feature has been requested by many whales and content creators over the years, and it's another one that makes me baffled that Hoyoverse hasn't added it to the game. Of course it probably won't be of much use to a lot of people, besides maybe turning off that C6 Bennett because for some reason you really want to play Melt Chongyun. But if you saved up for 5-star constellations, I think it'd be nice if you could try out how the character plays without these constellations. I personally skipped quite a couple characters so that I could get C6 Furina, and as much as I really love playing C6 Furina Hyperbloom, and it's my favorite team in the game, I'd also like to be able to test different teams with her being at C0, because I can't really form a meaningful opinion on her strength, and seeing as she's quite a hot topic in the meta, I feel like I'm kind of missing out, which is why I wish Hoyo introduced Constellation Toggle. And also I'm one of the 3 people who'd like to play Melt Chongyun. Anyway, that's the top 5 changes that I'd like to see in Genshin. I probably missed something major, but these are the ones that came to my mind while thinking about this topic. So, do you agree with these? Or maybe you think they're all stupid and Hoyo should focus on something else? Let me know in the comments what you think about these ideas and what you personally would like to see added to Genshin. Anyway, that's it for today, thanks for watching, have a great day and see ya!